was about. So I think that's an ode to how great of a player Sid is.
Absolutely.
And the fact that we haven't been able to see him thus far
could be interesting.
excites me in a way because I don't know what to expect. But it also, I don't know how else to word it besides I'm just super excited to get things going. They're just making some final adjustments on stage.
And when we say we don't know what to expect, we literally mean we aren't quite even sure. I'm sure everyone else at the venue knows at this point because they've seen Sid running up the bracket, but we're not even sure what champion is using yet. So I'm excited to see that.
We're going into a blind, and honestly, that makes things more exciting.
Yeah, you in interesting. Well, anyway, you folks at home, I mean, you can place your bets as to who we are going to see in terms of a champion pick. If I had to guess, I mean, just numerically, I think the odds fall on maybe potentially a Nubia or an Idris.
Yeah.
But seeing those flex Kun picks, and especially this core who has made his way up the bracket is really cool.
Yep, and we're getting word that I believe the players are ready. So maybe if we want to head over to that scene, we can see if the board is set up, and then we can also get some insight into what characters are being played.
I think they're getting into a position where they're getting ready to start. I think there might not be a TO there yet. I think there might still be getting ready. But I mean, again, talking about this core deck, we've seen so much versatility throughout the tournament. Right? I mean, yeah, for sure. We're going to quickly maybe take it back to core, and maybe even.
I got core up here,
core,
and then we talked about the desk companion, right?
Has been huge. I mean, we see a lot of things. We also saw again a versatile amount of gameplay where we saw the use cases of the summons to win out the games. We've seen a timeout style of play where he's effectively drained his opponent of their timeline, even when all look lost for him.
Yeah.
So
and we're jumping right into things. By the way, I love this.
We are.
So Sid playing Kun, if I'm not mistaken, and we do see him pull out the early dedicated study to improve his starting hand a little bit, maybe look for some better starting cards.
Both units almost ceremoniously in this final meeting each other at the middle of the arena.
It's almost like a UFC fight where you touch
they're
gloves.
tapping the gloves, right?
That's basically the Genesis version that we're witnessing on stage right now.
I'm wondering if we're going to see the bolt shot potentially. Oh, we are going to see a mind read.
We talked about it last game. It was the first time we've seen it, and I guess our players were inspired as they are using it here in our first finals match.
So this is really interesting right off the bat.
It's a great card.
He likely had the option to potentially do some damage.
Yeah.
But he opted, you know what? My opponent's got a full hand, right? I can see a lot of their options here to potentially play this opening as optimally as I can. And he's going to get that opportunity. So for those of you who are maybe unfamiliar with the card or maybe the deck, mind reading is an enchantment that goes on to the champion that whenever a enemy champion is around them, they get to see what is in their thoughts, effectively what's in their hand. So a lot of potential foresight being offered to the side of core, or sorry, not core, Kun.
What a fast-paced start. This is almost like
that's really interesting.
A polar opposite of the games we saw previously in the third place match, just in terms of the pace and the tempo.
Yeah.
It seems like these players are just looking to catch their opponent off guard, maybe by coming out, with a very aggressive opener. And I think we're seeing that from Kun so far, from Sid.
And one thing I think I'll be interested to see here is how these decks play out. I mean, boom, we're already starting with a Tsunami, right? We're already starting with Tsunami. Those classic spells coming out. But a big question for me is: are we going to see a very similar deck to what we saw on in the bronze game, right? Where the Kun is very spell heavy, is centric around his own mobility, doing damage on his own. It will depend, and I think that mind reading card is really interesting on the Kun because oftentimes you're using Kun, you're maneuvering around their player anyway.
Yeah, you like to be, in that close quarter combat, and mind reading is best used obviously when you are within close proximity to your enemy. So a really great card on Kun. Surprised we didn't see it used earlier in some of the other Kun decks we've seen. But obviously a super interesting choice. And I think that might potentially be one of the cards that's helped Sid get to where he is right now in the final.
Another Tsunami coming out. Now this is like an interesting card, right? Like the choice to use Tsunami right away as effectively just a damage tool.
And a bolt shot
coming out as well. So some flat damage. Maybe the Tsunami was used to potentially bait out maybe a counter spell.
Didn't get used, so he knows that maybe there isn't a counter spell
Another
on the side of Alderaan.
Huge damage.
Wow, all the way down to 9 HP, Austin.
Obviously a lot of aura used on the side of Sid. But
still sitting at 60 though. That's not terrible considering
really
he's now down to 5 HP.
And I mean, especially considering a bolt shot uses a big damage tool as bolt shot, and that's not using aura.
Yeah,
that's using
coming off
timeline.
cards from your timeline.
So yeah, there's a lot of damage early here, and I mean, I feel like Core is not going to be able to match that damage output with his techniques or spells. It's not going to happen. I think he needs to find some summons on this board here.
This is such an interesting matchup. I think Kun and Core are trying to play two very different play styles, right?
Yes.
Core obviously trying to look for different opportunities to play spells, get a lot of summons on the board and stuff. Obviously we mentioned the Desk Companion.
Who it is.
Just in time, just as I was about to talk about. But yeah, obviously a big win condition of the Core deck that we've seen Alderaan play time and time again here today. Really came through that Desk Companion and being able to get it into a position of power, a position where it's able to deal a lot of damage.
All right, and there we've got the subconscious summonings coming out.
Yeah.
Again, low health, low damage units, but
and we know Sid already used a couple Tsunamis, so I'm not sure if he has any remaining in his hand. At least they might be deeper down into his timeline. Yeah. So going to be interesting to see how he opts to deal with these subconscious
I think a moment to kind of look back to in this game early. I mean, we saw Sid use a lot of early damage. Maybe a question comes on to then Alderaan with the Core. Why meet the Kun in the middle of the arena where he might excel a lot? And then boom, Kun entering that range, he's going to get that vision of his opponent's hand. His thoughts?
Which, a large hand, if I may say so myself.
Yeah.
Lots of cards at the disposal of Alderaan. Just going to come down to, is he going to have enough time to use them? Or is he going to be hit with some sort of lethal damage here? You'd think with the amount of cards he has that there is some sort of spell neglection card or something to neglect the damage.
You would certainly hope so. Yeah, so some there was coming out. Another piece of, I think that's another counter spell coming out. I mean, 3 HP. 3 HP. We're 6 minutes into this game. Another damage. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness, this stack.
Wow. That is and for those of you who don't know what that spell is, fairly simple. It's just a
one damage.
Just a left hook. It's a basic attack one. And one of the things that's interesting, right? These things are eating up. It's only 1 damage, but it's eating up counter spells, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of baiting him into being forced to use the.
And he has to 1 damage
there's
when you have.
And there's another attack. I think that is another left hook, and that's going to land at the very least, right? It lands. It lands a whole bunch. So obviously, with the left hook, you're seeing there not being spent aura. That's a lot of timeline. So he's played 3 of those. It's essentially 9 cards off the top. Another counterspell. But keep in mind, all of these counterspells being used to negate 1 damage.
Yeah, but here's what I was gonna say. When you're at full HP, let's say or even if you're in the teens of HP, you're okay with taking 1 damage. You're not happy about it, but it's something that you're willing to, maybe save those counter spells. But when you're on 3 HP, 1 HP is a third of your HP, if my math is correct. I think it is.
Absolutely.
But yeah, like you mentioned, 8 minutes into the match, already to be down 8 HP.
Stacks
Sid coming out with guns blazing here in this opening match of the finals.
One thing to note that I think could potentially play a role, you saw a lot of cards used there. A lot of those hooks coming out. But if you take a look at Sid over on that side of the board, I think his thoughts currently are empty. I think he's going to pick up one card this turn, and that's all he's going to have.
He doesn't have anything else, yeah.
So in terms of potential utility, he's kind of spent. But again, when all it takes at this point, you know, Alderaan has probably used a lot of his counter spells. He might have one, might have two. But man, if you can land one bolt shot, that's going to be game.
Yeah.
So
it would be very hard to imagine a world where you play a bolt shot and Alderaan still has a counterspell at his disposal currently in his hand.
Yeah.
If he did, that would be truly, truly remarkable.
I mean, even with that said, I mean, with the mobility of Kun, you could literally just walk up and auto attack him.
Yeah.
In that sense, like you could use your basic attack, deal 2 damage, bait out a counterspell, and then hit him with something else, right? So there's a lot of stuff going on here. Oh,
and we're now in range, so
now in range,
he is going to have to show.
I believe he will have to show. Not anymore.
Oh, never mind.
Maybe not. We shall see. Yeah, I'm not sure where that showing the thoughts falls on the timeline in terms of like the stack or how that falls. I think there's a little bit of nuance to that we're not quite straightened out on yet, but that's all right. I think at the end of the day, we'll find out when we find out. Okay, so Mujaliquid is, I'm pretty darn sure that is our favorite Death's Companion. So, I mean, if I'm Alderaan, right? Is that another? So okay, all right. So
this is getting very interesting.
Here's an interesting situation, right? Alderaan, he's used to playing in these situations where he has 3 HP and is running out of
We've seen him here before.
We've seen him here almost every game.
Yeah.
We've seen him here. So definitely not something you want to count out. And with 2 Death's Companions and no real other alternatives, I think positioning is important. Being on both the north and south offers the option to like,
and that's game. It's going to be game. Sid able to do that final 3 damage.
So what's happening on that is he's going to deal the 3 damage. That's going to come, I believe, from the essentially the heavy attack from Kun, and the left hook, I believe it was, from that basic attack just being enough. And I don't think he had counterspells for it. Huge win for Sid, and I can't, and it's something we might not see as a viewer because it doesn't show as much in terms of like the impact of the game as damage or whatever, but that early mind read, being able to see what your opponent has access to and when they can use it, I think, like I've said before, it allows you to play the most optimal possible game you can, and I feel like that was probably a huge contributor to allowing Sid to win that game.
A card like that in the hands of, you know, a world-class Genesis player like Sid is just such a good card to have. You can basically think,
going to let you know that there's about 30 minutes left in the auction in case
they are making an announcement here. But as I was saying, it basically allows him to think 3 or 4 moves ahead because he knows exactly what his opponent has. He knows he can think in his head if he were to play a certain card, what the counterplay would potentially look like. And I think that just helps him shape his game plan for the first couple of, obviously playing it early, the first couple of turns. And he was able to utilize it pretty much throughout that entire match. And he is up 1-0. Obviously this finals match is still a best of 3. So Sid, just 1 game away from being the 2021 Genesis champion.
It's pretty huge. Now, I think maybe the big question mark here comes with maybe that Alderaan. I said it before, that Alderaan meeting the Kun at the middle of the arena. I have to wonder what the game plan was going there. Because
he definitely didn't expect the mind reader. I can tell you that.
I think that's a really good point.
Sure.
He likely didn't. He likely expected damage output. And that didn't happen. So if we take a look at the deck, the cards that I think are being added to the deck, I think we're going to see some Stone Protectors potentially.
Which
it's possible.
Huge against Kun, being able to reposition like that, massive.
I think if those Death Death Companions come online earlier in that game,
Yeah.
it potentially looks a lot different.
Yeah. Who knows what the outcome would have been, but it definitely would have been a more long, drawn-out game.
Yeah.
You know, a lot more back and forth. Whereas the iteration of the game we saw, the way it played out, was very one-sided. I mean, towards the end, Alderaan was able to get some summons on the board.
Yes,
and
but I
for
think
a
it was
second,
just a bit too late.
yeah,
right?
for a second it did look like maybe we talked about him being at 3 HP, him being in that situation before. We thought maybe he could do it again. He could
Yeah.
pull off some sort of a miracle. But when Sid gets you down to 3 HP, a couple turns into the game, it's like there's only so much you can do, right? No matter how good of a player you are, and that's Alderaan is an amazing player. We've seen it multiple times here today, right?
Yeah, and I think like there's so much stuff you can force your opponent to have to do when you get them down to such a low HP count so early on in the game. It's like you mentioned it before. It was like traditionally you just tank that like one damage punch, right?
But when you're on 3
But when
HP,
you're
you
3 HP,
can't.
You can't afford to do that, so you end up burning all your counter spells in that situation, and then you're just left susceptible to like whatever he's got on deck next. So.
And now, as we look forward, as our players are shuffling their hands, we are looking forward to the third game, and we have to wonder what...
Second game, yeah.
Second game. We have to wonder what changes will be made from either side in terms of playstyle. Do we see Sid come out and play aggressive again like that? Or do we see him maybe take a little bit more of a slower approach? Personally, I think he just tries a very similar tactic again.
Yeah, I think at least... Hey, look, folks, I'm certainly no Genesis master.
I don't know.
I mean, I think that start. I mean, you make a very good point. I think who in their right mind like predicts the mind read?
Yeah.
Off the start there, right? Who in their right mind? I mean, literally using mind reader, but it's. I think that's a really bold start there, and maybe the call is to play a bit more passive. Let those summons come online that you know you're going to need to carry the game.
Yeah.
But again, we've kind of saw it earlier. Like Alderaan has played against a Kun before. He understands that the impact that Tsunami can have on those Death Companions if he doesn't space them out properly.
Yeah.
So there's possible counterplay. It's just a question of what, how, and when it's going to transpire.
Yeah, in terms of Sid, I mean, we've seen him, or not him per se, but we have seen Kuns, kind of sit back a little bit in the opening, and that is...
We are off to a start, and let me tell you.
Oh, there it is.
Let
There
me
it
tell
is.
you, I like it. I love this start. We saw it played before earlier on in, I believe it was group stages, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken. Huge. Stone.
It might have been Alderaan himself that had played this same opener.
I do believe it was, because he's the only one thus far that we've seen that plays Core.
Yeah,
so I'm almost
true.
certain it was.
Yeah.
So Core comes down, he's going to place the Stone Protector. And then on top of the Stone Protector, he's going to put the
Death
Death Companion,
Companion.
which is going to come on.
I believe we
next.
called that the peanut butter and jelly.
The peanut butter and jelly
Genesis,
play.
if you will.
I love it.
A fantastic combination.
Absolutely. Like being able to get that damage potential online so early, I think is huge.
And especially against a mobile character like Kun, who's going to be moving around the board very quickly, being able to kind of catch up to him and get into a position of where you're able to do damage despite him being able to move more than your character, I think really is a great opener. I definitely think we're going to see a much different match here than we did see in the first game.
Yeah, 100%. And boom, another Death Companion.
Wow.
The damage is coming online right now, and I think that's a huge start from, like a huge different start from the game that I think, in my opinion, is going to lead to a lot better results in the end. At least certainly give you more survivability. I mean, you look at how the game transpired before. Let's say Kun tries that again.
Kun's still going on the aggressive though.
Let's say, okay,
Tsunami's
so he's going to use
played.
Tsunami. He's going to end up taking out the one, right? But now you're in the situation where like he has to deal with one. He can't take his time, use that mind read,
Counterspell coming
right?
out.
If he walks up and use that mind read, you know, he's going to pay 5 damage for it next turn, right?
Yeah.
And even more, maybe 10 damage if both of the Death Companions hit.
So definitely have to act quick.
Tsunami comes out. That might
Again, another.
So counterspell is played. Another damage spell is played. Going to see if there will be an additional counterspell. We shall see. It does not seem like that. Okay, so attack's going to come out.
And the Wind Slash comes out as well.
Interesting. Okay, damage comes out. Alderaan is going to take a
Decent chunk of damage.
pretty considerable
Wow.
amount of damage early.
Not exactly what we expected to see in terms of HP levels when you consider the opener we've seen from Alderaan. But still lots of time. He is going to drop down to 15, but at this point in the last match, he was at 3 HP. So this is improvement. We're improving.
This is a good point. I was going to say, not that bottom left corner on our
Death
screen.
Companion.
Not exhausted. Death Companion going to come in, going to come online. It's going to end up dealing that 5 damage.
Yeah. Huge.
If I'm not mistaken, unless there's a counterspell at play here.
Nope. It doesn't seem like it is. Sid is just going to tank the damage to the face. Already lowered his HP.
Oh, excellent. Okay, I didn't see that.
So I wonder what the next move is here from Sid. Maybe opts to back up a little bit when he is given the chance to move next.
Oh, another one. Oh my goodness. This puts him in a position where we could see 2
Death Companions roaming around together. Wow.
It's a real possibility. Now, you have to wonder, in a situation like this, right? He has the Death Companion already on his left there. And let's quickly, if we can there, we can, we'll pull up the
Stone Protector.
Yeah, the Stone Protector.
For those that aren't aware of what it does, obviously allows you to relocate not only the Stone Protector, but also a target champion or summon on the same spot anywhere in the arena.
Damage dealt Hall. Okay, so he's using those left hooks. He's getting some of that damage in on the con. Now,
drop
keep in
Alderaan
mind,
down to 11.
He is sitting directly on that Death Companion and that
Stone Protector.
Stone Protector. Now, I was going to say, same direction now. The interesting thing is, so that core, I really do wonder why he didn't opt to place the Stone Protector on top of his already pre-existing Death Companion.
Yeah, very interesting.
Unless he's looking to play a potential another one.
A third one.
On there.
Nope, he's gonna move the.
Okay, so he's counterspell. So damage is gonna come online from the Death Companion. Counterspell is gonna come out on top of the stack.
Is there any counter for Alderaan? He's gonna move.
So that's a shuffle. So he's gonna avoid the damage there. On the target. So he's gonna.
Alderaan down to 5 HP. We could be looking at crowning a champion under a half hour. Contrast this to the third place match when I believe an hour and 15 minutes. We could be looking at a sub 30 grand final here. But I don't want to count Alderaan out.
Yeah,
we've done it before and we've regretted it.
Yeah.
So still lots that can be done here on the side of Core. Going to see if he can get himself back into this game. Does have a very strong amount of summons on the board. I just think Sid has played this brilliantly in terms of really not allowing
but you look at that potential, right? Is he exhausted? Does he have the spells? Does he have the damage? He's going to use the hooks.
So he's going to go down
he's just
to
gonna
3.
Okay, so here's the question. Does he have, if he has an attack spell? It's a really good question.
That's
Here's
game.
the bolt shot. If he does not have a counter spell, that's going to
That's
be
game. That is game. And convincing fashion in under 25 minutes, Sid is able to take down Alderaan 2-0 to become your 2021 Genesis champion.
Now, we did not really get to catch a lot of those bracket matches, but we saw that the previous score in the other one was
2-0, yeah. And you see them on the stage there. Sid is going to be on the right side of your screen. You see the trophy in between the two players there that they are going to be awarded.
But keep in mind, it is underneath the table. Once that thing gets going, it is quite large. But yeah, very honestly commanding wins.
Wow. I'm still in shock. I'm still trying to process the first game, and the second game is already over.
Yeah,
and the champion's crowned. Like, wow.
That was so fast.
Wow.
such aggressive play. I mean, if you were to tell me, if you were to tell me that a card like the Hook, dealing 1 damage, would play such a big part in a game like this,
it's insane,
I
right?
wouldn't really believe it, right? I mean, but when it comes down to it, being able to, for Kun to be able to get on top of that enemy champion so quickly, deal a huge amount of damage. I mean, I think that's really where he excels.
Yeah.
Is getting like on top of that champion, dealing a whole bunch of damage, and even like you said, he just kind of tanked. He saw the Death Companion come out, and he's like, whatever, I'll take the 5 damage. I'm gonna do like 12 to the next turn. So, wow,
I can't get over how incredibly quick that was.
Yeah.
And just every move seems so calculated from Sid.
Yeah.
Like he
knew exactly
I mean, the
what he
first
was
game,
doing.
obviously, we had the Mind Reader, so he did really expect what to see. As he is getting a little excited on stage. We're gonna cut back to that camera there.
Yeah, a lot of sportsmanship around here. A lot of these players talking to these guys. I think a lot of them helping each other kind of craft their decks, build the best decks they can, offering advice to each other. And again, I think that's one of the great things about this community is they work with each other. And
there we see Sid pick up the trophy. We weren't lying when we said it's big. There are people in the way, but quite a large trophy he's going to be taking home.
That's very exciting. My goodness. Wow. Yeah. What a great deck. Again, it's really great to see the community kind of rallying around. Everybody's happy for him. You know, at the end of the day, this is a community that cares about each other. Everybody wants to see everyone else succeed.
Yeah.
And that's really something that's awesome. Excellent. So I think we are going to...
Yeah, we're going to try to get Sid displayed with the trophy.
Excellent.
Yep, as we get the people out of the way so you guys at home can see the trophy.
There it is.
Big round of applause here in the venue for Sid. Very well deserved.
After a long day.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, a long day of pretty taxing. Oh no. Little miniature there. Yeah, the miniature unfortunately falling there from the trophy, but that's all right. You know what? I think at the end of the day,
that's okay. It's a story to tell,
yeah,
right?
You know, it's a little part of that trophy there. I'm not sure if Sid's going to get mic'd up, but like, man, these guys have had
we do have someone in front of our camera here.
I mean, a lot of people here. I mean, just the fact that some of these cameras are being crowded. There's some people here.
It just shows the excitement.
Yeah,
right?
these folks are very excited about the outcome of this event. I mean, it's been a long day, that's for sure. I mean, imagine a lot of these players are going to sleep well tonight. They're probably very.
Oh yeah, and we're
awarding the
Sid and
Sid. Sid and Sid, yeah, excellent.
We started off the day with Steve versus Steve-O, and we're ending the day with Sid handing the trophy to Sid. Wow.
That's really awesome.
It all really does come full circle, Austin.
It does. That's... Yeah, wow. Yeah, they just
we
made
hear that
comment.
from Sid on stage saying really, really happy that he sees Sid taking home the trophy, obviously.
That's nice. So he's just saying something. So it seems like we can talk a little bit about the tournament, but it does seem like soon we're going to be taking a short break. Now, whether Sid is going to be coming back and giving an announcement on stream, we'll see about that. But in regards to the tournament, that's the conclusion. And I mean, we've seen a lot of great gameplay throughout the weekend. I mean, wow, a lot of great cool decks. I mean, for me, I think obviously finishing second place, a little bit disappointing, without a doubt. But I mean,
you can't be mad at that at all,
especially playing core, a deck that a lot of people assumed would not be as versatile or as successful as a lot of people kind of thought, right?
Yeah.
So I think proving those people wrong with that kind of deck, it shows a lot of innovation, and I think that's something that games like these really need. Yeah. I think a lot of times you have two kinds of people who play games like this. You kind of have the refiners who kind of hone in on this very specific, makes
already
decks
exists,
as good as they can possibly be of pre-existing decks. But then you have the people that are really, I think, important to develop
The meta shifters, the innovators,
exactly,
right?
The innovators, and they're so important to games like this because
it helps them grow, and then the skill ceiling just
absolutely
continues to grow.
I mean,
correct?
we came into this tournament assuming that we would be seeing Nubia and Idris take
Pretty
the cake.
much, yeah.
We thought that the Angel of Retribution would be huge. We thought that
Didn't really even
Burke
see it
would
at
be
all.
huge. We saw a bit early on, but it didn't end up making it.
Maybe that just means we have a bit of studying to do ourselves. It's funny. It's funny if you remember when we were doing some play testing between ourselves earlier this week. We played a match. I believe you were on the Idris, and I was on a similar Kun deck that didn't really have many summons, but it was a lot of spells. And I remember saying to you something along the lines of, "Yeah, this deck seems awesome and all. Like it seems like there's potential here, but I almost feel like I don't really have answers to your summons."
Right.
And I think that was more so. I'm not claiming to be a good jester. I'm nowhere near the level of Sid that we saw on display here. But yeah, I think it's just like on a face value, you maybe look at that deck and you maybe don't see its full potential. But when you see a player of Sid's caliber play it, you really realize that. As of right now, I don't know what the exact counter is to a deck like that.
Right, and it's going to be really interesting because I imagine, right, people coming out of 2019, I imagine we probably saw a lot of Nubia, probably saw a lot of Idris, right? And then the meta was like, hey, we know that's going to be a factor, we're going to prepare for it.
Yeah.
And now after this event, come 2020,
they're going to have an answer for Kun.
They might be like, you know what, we're going to see a lot of Kun. We've seen the potential it has. We're going to develop the meta even further, especially with this new Kickstarter coming out. You're going to have
it's
new
only going
champions.
to grow the meta. I am
It's gonna
so
grow the
excited
meta.
for
There's
next
going to
year.
be potential, a lot of potential counter plays and new deck potential, a lot of new innovation I'm sure we're going to see. But with that said, it's been a fantastic tournament. We're going to take a 10-minute break before our closing ceremonies. And before that, I want to say thank you guys, everyone at home, at the event. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
And we will see you guys in 10 minutes for the closing ceremonies.
Looking forward to it.
super duper princess.
All right, and welcome back into our Toronto studio. For one last time, we saw a brilliant day of Genesis. We don't want to keep you too long. We do want to get to our closing remarks. But for one final time, my name is Ty Estrero. I want to thank you guys for watching with us, bearing with us through, a long day of Genesis, but an exciting day. We couldn't be more grateful for this opportunity and
Absolutely.
Looking forward to future Genesis events.
Absolutely, and also for me, I'm Austin, also known as One Shot Ocelot, or Ocelot for short. A lot of great Genesis. Again, like you said, huge shout out to the entire Genesis community. The players getting this event together was tremendous, and I'm sure everyone's pretty exhausted, but rightfully so. They played some great games.
Yeah. And shout out to the production team here. Sorry to cut you out. The production team here played an amazing role. Getting top down, every person involved in putting this production on should be very proud of themselves. Just absolutely great.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and pass it off to Sid to give us the closing remarks for this wonderful event, and we're going to pass that off to him now.
Sid, take it away.
Potentially, I mean, maybe the tech team.
The thing. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Had someone.
This is YouTube, on the Discord. The community is great. Everyone's super friendly. So get involved.
Yeah.
And I do believe we're going to hopefully be passing it off to Sid now if we can. Granted, the tech team is looking. Galties,
Nothing wrong with that.
What
To be
can you do?
expected after a long day.
I think they're just setting up the camera, so that's okay. We're getting everything sorted. So again, yes, we talked about getting involved. Obviously, I think there's going to be a potential huge surge in the popularity of Genesis with the Kickstarter. Yeah. Absolutely, for the first time, being able to get involved. So. We're finally getting the call from the tech side. We're going to be passing it off to Sid to give us the closing remarks. And thank you everyone for tuning in. And I'm sure Sid will say the same, but we'll pass it off to him.
Hey, champions! It has been a long day, but it's been awesome. And I'm so excited to be standing here at the end of our second championship event. Last time I remember during my closing remarks, I was overwhelmed by the feeling of all these people getting together and it feeling like we have friends and we're a community. And again, I feel the exact same way. This year, it's been amazing. And thank you so much, everyone who's been here for the entire day and all the amazing support we've had throughout. I started this off by giving a lot of thanks. I'm going to be giving a lot of those same thanks again, and I'm going to start first and foremost to my wife, who supports me for so much, and her inspiration drives me every day. I also want to give a shout out to my dad and my mom, who are just awesome, and I'm so grateful for my family support and everything. So I get to be up here, I get to say those thanks. I'm going to do that. The other thing I want to say thank you to, and I want them to come up, Alex, Chris, and Damian, our leading team. Can you come up for a second? It's just, I cannot do this on my own, and these three have stepped in so many times to make this entire project a reality, and I'm really grateful and excited that this is actually the first time ever all four of us got to meet in person. Damian has been working on this project for 5 years now. Alex, in his own ways, since Welcome to JLR, and Chris, 10 years when we started testing it. And this is the first time all four of us got together in the same room. So this was a crazy moment, and I just wanted this to be on camera, that the four of us got together. It really happened. It really happened. I want to give a special shout out to Unbound Studio, Jason and Jess, for helping out so much. I'm really grateful to that. Northern Arena, this production, what we were able to do, this looked amazing. And I could never have done something like this on my own. So thank you for supporting with that. And then, yes. And to our casters, Austin and Ty, you did amazing for the fact that you just learned the game, like brute force, learned it really, really quickly, and were able to commentate the entire day. I'm sure you're tired and ready to go home, so thank you so much. A few last thanks. Dragon World, who was here earlier to do the vending, that was very appreciated. To our judges, Shahan, Lionel, and JC for supporting on that side. And yeah, I want to give a special shout out to Will K. Over the years, we've had a lot of people who have come and supported the game a lot, but Will has really gone above and beyond in so many ways. So if you get an opportunity to see him today, before you leave, make sure you thank him because he's done a lot for this community behind the scenes. All right. I want to also announce that for the auction, we had a goal of 10,000, and we did hit that goal. It was crazy. It was absolutely insane. So for everyone who's here, if you bid on an item and you won it, you have the opportunity to, once you pay for it, come over, pick it up, take it home with you, which is awesome. And make sure if anything in that frame has stuff from Damian, you get that signed before he leaves. All right, everyone who has cameras, want to take photos, get ready. I want to call up the winners. So starting with the sealed event, the top four we had. I'm going to get Alex to call these out.
All right, we're going to call, in fourth place, we have Stephen B. Woo! In third place, who abandoned judging to join the sealed event, Shayon. In second place, we have Vincent. Now, the first place winner, he did something very special. This man made it into the top 8 for the main event and lost so fast that he could join the sealed event. Come on up, Bill!
What do I do?
I don't know. I just want to some numbers.
Come up here. I want to make sure we got all photos with all of us together. Okay. So,
on the stage?
No, here. Just, yeah. All right.
Is that an alpha box?
All right.
We're cracking that, right?
Yeah.
Two more sealed.
Alright. Smiles with
I
your
am.
eyes.
Perfect. Congratulations to all the
Congratulations,
winners.
thank you guys.
Prizes, we'll get that to you afterwards.
All right, in our 8th place for our main event, we have Ray, also known as Hades. In 7th place, we have Steve-O. In 6th place, we have Shockwave. In 5th place, despite dropping so quickly out of it, it's Will again. Hey! I don't know the full name of this, but all I have is GC in 4th place. In 3rd place, we have Kilotox. In 2nd place, we have Alderon. And your champion, Sid.
You gotta get the photo. Holding this. All right. All right. Let's get photo.
Get to the front, get to the front, get to the front.
Alright. Can one of you come?
Yeah, I'll hold the trophy.
Hey, Chris, you're a little bit hidden by the trophy. I think that's okay though.
What?
Yeah. Not important.
Let them not.
More important.
Chris, just go there.
There you go.
All right.
Alright.
You need a step stool for that?
Alright, wonderful.
All right.
No, it's okay.
Back for a second. All right. You gotta hold this.
Okay.
All right. I'll help you hold this with one hand.
Thank you.
And then. All right.
Can you move away from the podium?
Okay. Yeah.
Are we in this?
Are we in?
Yeah. Come in. Of course, you guys are in this.
Everyone say flame jet. I got a nice podium on mine.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Awesome. I'm gonna. That is yours. All right. So that is our event of the evening. Thank you so much to everyone coming out. This was an amazing event, and we'll see you again next year, if not earlier. Right? Everyone? All right. Have a wonderful night, and take care. Bye.
The winners of this.